All right, so today you guys are going to learn how to understand what a ratio is, and you're also going to learn how to use ratio language, okay? So, does anybody know what a ratio is? We worked on it last year. I know this is a refresher right now. Yes?
2 dots, I think.
Okay, so yeah, in a ratio we use 2 dots. What do these 2 dots stand for?
Decimals.
Not decimals. 2. It stands for the word 2, okay? What exactly is a ratio though? When we use ratio, what are we doing? Okay, I'm going to tell you guys. You guys ready? When we use a ratio, we are comparing, okay? We're comparing values of stuff. So for example, how many blue dots do I have?
2.
2, okay. How many green dots do I have?
3.
3, right? Okay, so simple, right? So if I say give me the ratio of blue dots to green dots, what color did I say first?
Blue.
Blue. How many do I have?
2.
So I'm going to write the blue one down first. And what do these 2 dots mean?
2.
2, right? And how many green dots do I have?
3.
3. So my ratio is 2 to 3. I am comparing 2 blue dots to 3 green dots, okay? Now listen very carefully. If I say give me the ratio of green dots to blue dots, are we going to write down the green first or the blue first?
Green.
Green, right? So how many green dots do I have?
3.
What do these mean?
2.
And how many blue?
2.
Okay. I need to see red, yellow, or green if you understand how to use the ratios and say it.
Kind of, I guess.
Okay, so let's keep going. Now, I can't draw, but this is a red rose. And this is just a regular blue flower, okay? So, if I tell you, number 1, how many red roses do I have?
4.
So I have 4, okay? How many blue flowers do I have? 2, okay? So if I'm asking you to tell me the ratio of blue flowers to red roses, am I going to write down the blue or the red first? Blue, because I said blue flowers to red roses, right? So how many blue flowers do I have?
2.
Okay. What do these little dots mean?
2.
And how many red roses do I have?
4.
2 to 4. Now, if I tell you give me the ratio of red roses to blue flowers, what am I writing down first? The red roses or the blue flowers? Red, right?
Yeah.
Because I said red roses to blue flowers. So how many red roses do I have?
4.
What does it stand for?
2.
2. And how many blue?
2.
2. Okay. Now, red, yellow, green, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Now, red, yellow, green, do you understand that a ratio is comparing stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So, I have given you an example of how I use a ratio in the real world before, okay? Does anybody remember my example?
So first, we did is how much trash and how much.
Yeah. So the problem we do with our trash and our fish, right? That was a ratio, yeah. What else did I explain? I was talking about birthdays. Birthdays. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah.
No? Okay. So let me go over it again. This is a way that I use ratios. So let's say that I have a class of 10 people. Each box, and I want to make cupcakes. So I need 10 cupcakes. Each box of cupcake mix only makes 5. How many boxes will I need?
One more.
One more. So in total, I would need 2. That was the ratio. So I could use it for cooking. Here's another example of how I could use ratios in the real world. Let's say that I'm bringing 8 donuts to school, okay? And each box that I have only carries 1 donut. How many boxes do I need?
Wait, no.
13?
So I have 8 donuts,
2.
and each box only carries 1 donut. How many boxes will I need in total?
0.
Okay, let's work this out, okay? So I have 8 donuts, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8 donuts. And each box only carries 1 donut, okay? So if I know each box only carries 1 donut, how many boxes do I need?
8.
8. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll need 8 boxes. Okay? Let's do another one because you guys seem a little confused. So, if I have 6 classes and I need 1 binder for each class, how many binders do I need?
6.
6. Good. Because I need 1 binder for each class, right? Good. Okay. So we're on to something here. So we are comparing when we're doing ratios, and you know how to use ratio language now. We can use ratios for cooking. We can use it to figure out how many boxes we need. For math, we could figure out how many binders for classes we need. How else can we use this in the real world?
Like the times.
Okay, so use it for multiplication, yeah. How else can we use it in the real world? Can anybody get money? Good. We could use it for money. When you're older, you're obviously going to have some bills. You're going to have to do ratios and make sure that you have enough money to cover XYZ bills. Okay? So you could use it for budgeting. What about if I'm shopping? Can I use it for shopping?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say I have, oh, go ahead.
Like if you have like this hand that you have in your left that you have to buy like 5 bags of chips.
Mm-hmm. You're going to need to know how much money you need, right? You don't want to go up to the cash register and not know. We use ratios every single day without even knowing it, okay? So, you'll know that you understand ratios when you can speak ratio language, so blank to blank, and when you understand that you're comparing 2 values, okay? You'll also know that you've got it when you can turn your percent into a decimal, okay? Thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs to the side. Okay. So, we're going to begin our lesson now. So, as you recall, this represents our ocean, okay? Mm-hmm. And I have 10 fish in there for now. And I have 100 pieces of trash. This represents the ocean pollution that we have, right? Because sometimes people just dump their garbage into the ocean.
Like pretend that they had like a chip bag, they just let it fly.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So, what happens when there's ocean pollution? What happens to the animals?
They die.
They die. Does it only affect the animals or does it affect us as human beings as well?
Too.
Us too. How? How does it affect us?
Because we threw the garbage in the ocean.
Yeah, we threw the garbage in the ocean, but what about like, do people eat fish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so how can that affect us?
Because
we
feed
feed
it
it,
and then nasty things.
Yeah, exactly. So nasty pollution is in the fishes. What about if the fishes and stuff and the animals start dying? Are we gonna have those to eat?
No.
We're gonna
No.
have less food.
Less food, right? So do you see how this is impacting us as humans as well as the animals, right?
Yeah.
So if you notice, there's hardly any more plastic bags. we now have to pay for bags, right? They're trying to decrease the amount of plastic in the ocean. So when we think about turtles, what do turtles eat?
Paper.
They eat
Jellyfish.
and,
Jellyfish, okay?
And what is it?
So, jellyfish, okay? What does a bag look like underwater?
Jellyfish.
What do you think the turtle's going to do?
Eat it.
And what do you think is going to happen to the
Die.
turtle?
Die.
Right? That's not nice. So, this, going back to our lesson, represents the ocean. Why am I using this? Because can I bring you the ocean?
No.
I can bring the ocean to you.
Wonder if there was like a shark that throws the water like.
Throws it out, yeah. So, I'm using a model. So, in my model, I have 10 fish and I have 100 pieces of trash, okay? You guys, I'm going to give you a challenge as mechanical engineers, and your task is to build a device that picks up at least 25% of trash. And we're aiming for 0 animals, but in the real world, does everything work perfectly?
No.
Nope. So let's give ourselves a little cushion and say you can collect up to 10% of fish. I know that the ocean has more than just fish, but for our project, we're just going to put fish, okay? So, how many fish are in here total?
10.
10. How many pieces of trash do I have in here total?
100.
Okay. I want your device to pick up what percent of trash?
25%.
And do we want any animals?
Nope.
No. But does everything work perfectly?
No.
No. So you're allowed to catch up to what percent? Up to 10% of fish. Okay. Got it. So it's cool that I'm telling you your device needs to pick up 25% of trash. And your device can pick up to 10% of fish. But when I stick my device in there and I'm pulling it out and I'm counting my number, my pieces of trash, how do I know what 25% is? We have to calculate, right? Okay, so once we get that number, we can see if we made it or not. We can see if we met the challenge or not, okay? So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to act it out, okay? You're going to watch me act it out as if somebody gave me this problem, okay? Then we're going to do it as a class, and then I will let you independently try it, okay? All the numbers will change, okay? All right, so here I go. Okay, so Miss Atkin told me that there are 10 fish and 100 pieces of trash. Okay. And she also told me that I need to build a device that's going to pick up 25% of trash and 10% of fish. Okay, I can do this. I remember that the steps she told us to do, step 1, turn your percent to a decimal, and then step 2, take that decimal and multiply it by the total of whatever you're talking about. Okay, got it. So, I need to pick which one to do first. So I'm going to pick the trash. Okay? So for me, I don't like to forget what I'm doing because I don't want to mix up my numbers. So I like to write trash on top. Now, I'm going to put my information about the trash. I know that I need to pick up 25% of trash. And I know that there's 100 total pieces of trash. So total 100. Okay, so in other words, Miss Atkin wants me to find 25% of 100. Okay, cool. So I'm ready for my math. All right, so let's see. I know my first step is to turn my percent to a decimal. Okay, I could do this. So what percent am I working with? 25%. Good thing I wrote it there, because now it makes it a little easier. And I know when I'm talking about a whole is 100%. And the way I remember this is if somebody tells me you got an A plus and you got nothing wrong, you got the whole thing right, you got 100%, which means the whole thing. So I know I need to divide 25 divided by 100. And this line means divide. Okay. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 25, because we read it top to bottom, divided by 100. And in my calculator, I get 0.25. So did I make it? Yes, I did, because I turned my percent, I turned my 25% into a decimal. We're completed. I know that I am not allowed to get rid of this decimal. Okay, so just remember that. Okay. Now, step 2. Let me look at my notes. It says to take the decimal you just got and multiply it by the total of whatever you're talking about. So, my decimal is 0.25, so I'm going to take 0.25, and I'm going to multiply it by the total number of, am I talking about fish or trash? Oh, I'm talking about trash. And I have a total of 100 pieces. So 0.25 times 100, because I have 100 pieces of trash, which equals, when I put it in my calculator, 25. I am now completed, and I now know that 25% of 100 is 25, which means I need to at least pick up 25 pieces of trash. Cool. So now I know when I stick it in there, if I get 25 pieces of trash, I met the 25%. Cool. Okay. Whew. That was nice. Now I gotta work on my fish because I need a number for fish. I'm gonna do the same steps though, so I know I got this. So I'm gonna put fish up here to remind myself I'm talking about fish. And I'm going to put some notes for myself. So fish. I can collect up to 10%. And I know that there's a total of 10 fish. Okay, so in other words, Miss Akin wants me to find 10% of 10. Cool, I'm ready. So, step 1, turn my percent into a decimal. So, here we go. I'm working with 10%. So, 10. And I know that a whole is 100%. I remember this is divide. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 10, because we read from top to bottom. 10 divided by 100 is 0.10. Cool. I turned my percent into a decimal. Step 1 is completed. Step 2, I'm going to take my decimal and multiply it by the total number of whatever I'm talking about. Okay, so step 2. 0.10 times the total number of what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm talking about fish. The total is 10 fish times 10. And when I multiply that, I will get 1.0, also known as 1. So I can collect up to 1 fish. Okay. Red, yellow, or green on what I just did?
Green.
Okay. Now it's going to be our turn as a class, okay? Changing numbers around. Let's see. We can have 425 fish, and we can have, let's say 200 pieces of trash, okay? I want you to pick up at least 15% of trash and 5% of fish. Of course we want 0, but nothing works perfect, so here we go. So we have 425 fish and 200 pieces of trash. How many fish do we have?
425.
How much trash do we have?
200.
200 pieces. Good. I want you to pick up what percentage of trash?
15.
15% of trash. And what percentage of fish are you allowed? Good. So, do we want to solve for trash or fish first?
Trash.
Trash. Okay. So, I'm going to write what up here?
Trash.
Trash. This is just for your own memory, okay? Because sometimes it's easy to forget. Now, what kind of information do I want to put under trash?
All of the steps.
15.
Good job. So I want to put 15% because that's what I want to collect, right? And what else do I want to put under there?
The 5% of fish.
Well, we're working on trash right now, so do we want to put in fish in there?
425. You want to put no?
Well, 425
No,
what?
200.
Fish?
100.
Why do you say 200?
Because I looked at the trash.
Yeah, and what's our total number of trash pieces?
200.
200, right? So you have to remember that we're talking about trash. We're not mixing the numbers between trash and fish, okay? So, in other words, I want you to collect 15% of what?
Trash.
Of 15% of
Trash.
Oh, 200% of trash.
15% of
Fish.
200, okay? That's another way to say this, okay? Step 1, what is step 1? Turn what into what?
Turns the 15 into decimal.
Yep, so turn my percent to a decimal. So let's do it. What am I going to put here?
15.
15?
15 divided by 100.
Why 100?
Because it's, no, 200.
No, it is by 100. 100 is a
Whole.
whole, right? When we're talking about percentage. Okay? So, what does this line stand for?
Divide.
It stands for divide. So, in our calculator, go ahead and try it. We're going to do 15 divided by 100. And everybody, once you get it, go ahead and just yell it out.
0.15.
Did everybody get that?
Yep.
Can you help him out, please? Yeah. So, show him how to do it. We're doing 15 divided by 100.
And then do 15.
Okay. So, what is our decimal?
1.15.
1.15.
1.15.
0.15.
0.15, right?
Yeah.
So, did we turn our percent into a decimal?
Yes.
Yes.
So, are we finished with step 1?
Yes.
Okay,
Now
cool.
it's time to move on to step 2.
Yep, now we move on to step 2. Step 2 says, take your decimal and multiply it by the total of what you're talking about. So what is our decimal again?
5.
0.15.
0.15.
Yep, 0.15, right? It's up there. And then we're going to times it or multiply it by the total number of what we're talking about. Are we talking about trash or fish right now?
Trash. 200.
Trash. What's our total number
200.
of trash pieces? 200. Good. So I want to multiply it by what?
200.
Can you please do this in your calculator and tell me what it is? Can we get rid of the decimal?
No.
No.
30.
30.00.
30.00.
30.00. In other words, that is 30. So I am now complete. How many pieces of trash do I need?
30.00.
Yes, so I need to pick up 30 pieces of trash. So cool. When I do this now, I know that my device needs to pick up at least 30 pieces of trash, right? Cool. So we're done with that. Now we're going to move on to doing the fish. So of course I want 0 fish, but like we spoke about a million times, nothing works perfectly in this world. So let's give ourselves a little leeway because we know we're going to eventually catch something. What am I going to put up here?
Trash.
No fish.
No fish.
Fish. We did our trash. What kind of information do I want under there?
15.
5%.
No, 5%.
5%.
5%. And what else?
And
425.
425 fish. So
425 total fish, right?
Yep.
So in other words, I need you all, attention up here please. In other words, I want you to find 5% of what? 5% of,
Fish. Oh wait,
425.
425.
yes, 5% of 425. All you're doing is saying 5% of 425, okay? Now, step 1, what is it? Turn my percent into a,
Decimal.
okay. So, what am I going to do?
5%
Okay, so 5.
divided by 100.
Yes, and why 100?
It's a whole.
Because it's a whole. What does this line stand for?
Divide.
Divide. So in my calculator, I'm going to put 5 divided by 100. And can anybody tell me what this is?
0.05.
Okay, 0.05. Is my step 1 complete?
Yes.
Did I turn my percent into a decimal?
Yes.
Yes, we're done. Now, step 2 says take that decimal and multiply it by the total number of whatever you're talking about. Okay, so step 2. What's my decimal?
0.05.
0.05. And what are we multiplying it by?
100.
Times.
Total number of what we're talking about. What are we talking about?
425.
425 fish. Can you please do this in your calculator? And tell me what you get.
21.
1,000.00.
Okay, so something went wrong there. Let's try it again. When we're in our calculator, hold on, sorry. When we're in our calculator, can I get rid of this decimal?
No.
Nope.
Can I get rid of this 0?
Nope.
No.
I need to put this in exactly how it says. 0.05 times 425.
This? Wait. 0.15.
Shawnee, it's not 0.15. Look over here.
0.0.
It doesn't let me.
21.25.
Yep.
I get it.
So in your calculator, 0.
0.
Point 0 5 times 4 2 5. Say it again. No. So try this again. You just reset your calculator. I can't see it. So 0 dot 0
0.
5
Dot. 0.
times 4 2 5.
It's 21. Can I help you, Mocha? Do you
That's
need
why.
help?
This has to be under the 2. Try it again.
Can I help you?
Yeah.
So, it's
Thank you for asking.
0.05 times 425 equals 21.25.
Are you getting that now that we switched it over to the 2? Okay. So I got 21.25. So I'm finished. How many fish can I catch?
21.25.
Good. So I could do 21.25. So I could catch 21 fish and 1 fish cut in a 4. Okay. So I am going to leave this up here for an example, okay? So let me just put a line around it so you know this is only an example. But we're going to use different numbers, okay? So
I did my notes.
let's say, good job. Let's say that there are 220 fish and 75 pieces of trash. And I want you to pick up at least 45% of trash, and you're allowed to pick up to 12% of fish. Okay, so I want you guys to try this. So let me give you some paper. Here we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So 40.
Thank you. Here, of course. So these are the numbers we're working with. We have 220 fish in our ocean, 75 pieces of trash. I want your device to pick up 45% of trash, and it can pick up to 12% of fish.
I drew right 75 on the bottom for total. Or no?
For what are you working on?
Just doing it.
So you're working on trash.
Yeah.
Think hard, okay? Follow these steps, okay?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, your answer is yes. Sorry. I just figured out what you were saying. So you can use the red, yellow, green, of course, but I do need to see you trying in order for me to help you because otherwise I can't see what you're doing.
So we're going to place